I'm here with, who am I here with?
Rich Liddle. So you've already got 5 units, 5 properties?
2 that are let out and just all done, and then 2 in the process, and then 4 more in legal / coming.
So that's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 very quickly. Okay, 8 at 10% management, you're probably paying somebody.
Yeah, about 9. I've got a nice.
Yeah,
rate,
so 9. But we'll, let's call it that. Those 10 properties, you cash the income from those £500 a month. These are arbitrary. I'm just big picture figures. What I'm getting at is you could be paying somebody an hour a day, 5 hours per week. A lot of people talk about VAs. Take it or leave it. Whether you want somebody overseas doing this work, I would personally be picking up somebody in this country to do that telephone. A young mother who potentially just wants to go back to work. Somebody potentially who you trust on site, who could not pick up your full management but could answer the day-to-day running.
Yeah.
Okay. Set that stall early.
Okay.
Okay.
So I've started that. I've outsourced a fair few bits at the moment.
To how many people?
So it's because it's social media stuff I'm outsourcing.
Right.
It's to 3, 4 different people, because each one is so podcast editing.
So very specialist.
They're specialised. They have to be separate. Messaging people, like the first contact is a VA. So a lot of the stuff is, imagine me, 10,000 LinkedIn connections, messaging them.
Yeah.
It's all done.
Yeah.
I've made videos of stuff like deal finding to prepare a VA for.
Okay.
I just do enjoy it, to be honest. I've also got VAs who have made me a comparable map of my whole investment area, which took them a day. It would have taken me a year.
Yeah.
And I can now, if you give me an address in my area, I can say, right, boom, here's the comparables. They've rated it for how nice it was. I've taught them how to do it, and they're on it.
Fantastic.
So I don't have to do it every time. So it's in process.
Yeah.
It is in process.
But in those little things there, all that back end, that's fantastic. Some of the stuff you've done there are brilliant. I'd love to see that, because that is almost, that sort of stuff is kind of thinking outside the box with property. Okay, with how can I trim down my time and effort, classic outsourcing. Where what I want to get to you with the property mentoring is actually, if we're going to grow our portfolio, let those classic things, the management, the things on the ground, you need to be getting rid of those early. Your social media, but your 90% of your time, well, I don't know what percentage of your time, but you are, social media dominant. That is your niche, shall we say. That's where you spend a lot of time.
Lately it's definitely been balanced towards property stuff, which is cool, it's fun.
So I think it's really, what I want to discuss is the transition from where you are. You say about Italian food, at least path of least resistance, we need to look at these other things, because you say you'll jump into an HMO, you say you'll jump into a block of flats, or you say you'll jump into a land. Well, if you jump into one of those, it's almost a scattergun approach. I would very much say, if you want to go down the block of flat route, let's actively look for a block of flats. Let's not just wait for one to land on our lap, because if one lands on our lap, you've then got to learn the intricacies of running a block of flats, of looking at the freeholds, looking at the individual leaseholds, have some of the leasehold flats being sold off independently, etc., etc.
So I want to create them.
So
which can be expensive, especially in Wales.
But what you're effectively looking at is a freehold building with
big enough.
Flats or do you want to create the flats?
So here's the thing, I'm open to either. However, it has to be something where I can add or re-add enough value that some money comes back out.
So you're effectively looking at doing a full conversion?
Pretty much.
And I think that's probably a wise thing for you to do. Like I said to you prior to this, using a commercial conversion to facilitate a buy-to-let portfolio is a very powerful thing. There's a building it's a classic cheesecake analogy. Buy one cake for £5 in Tesco's, or cut it up in 12 bits and sell each slice for £2. So and that's all we're doing. We're buying a big enough building. We're creating 10 individual apartments. We're splitting the leases if you desire. I would argue, is that worth it unless you're going to sell them off?
Probably not, because there's lenders, right, who'll just lend on it as if it was split sometimes.
Exactly.
So
And I think so I potentially wouldn't, if you're going to hold on to them, and then remortgage the whole lot. You will generally get all your money back out, as in excess of a 25% increase in that, because at the front end of a development, you want to be factoring in developer's profit, which for me would always be 30%. Some people would bring that left. So for me, that's where I'd be wanting to work with you. I'd be saying, right, Tej, from now on, what we're going to do is we're going to carry on with wants and legals. I want your eyes open for conversions. Buildings, probably around the minimum 3,000 square foot mark. Okay, to get sufficient, units out of them. But don't be scared of the zeros. All of a sudden, when I say don't be scared of the zeros, I don't want you to come back with a £30,000 ex-BT office building in South Wales that we're going to convert into 100. I think that might be a little bit too big. But if we can go realistically between 5 and 12 to 15 units, that would be realistic.
Yeah.
And that then gives you a focus of where you want to go, rather than just saying, I'll take what comes.
Yeah, and I think, when I say I take what comes, I want to clarify that. So I'm actively looking for them.
Yeah.
And I'm viewing some.
Yeah.
Just happen to be in the very wrong areas for the flats. Well, I say wrong.
Yeah.
The tenants there's no self-repairing leases in Wales. They don't care about their people, to put it honestly. Government, listen.
The biggest takeaway really on that front is investor relations. You have a massive profile, you're a massively well-known figure in the property industry, but I only ever see you asking for money for deals. Never.
Yeah.
That, and I see you on all the platforms asking for money. Invest with me. I have a deal that needs funding. Earn and learn, etc. Not
like a general.
Yeah. Here's some deals I've done. I'm looking to grow over the next 12 months. Always looking for investment. Please come and speak to me. Happy to show you around my patch, etc., etc. Not a specific invest in this deal.
Yes.
Because somebody could contact you and say, you know what? Somebody could be sat at home with £500,000 tied up in a development or whatever, their own property investment, and they may be sat and see your post and think, do you know what? I would have invested with Tej, but unfortunately my money's tied up until next week. Had you posed that question on social media the other way, he may have contacted you and said, you know what? I'm interested in what you're doing here. My money's not available yet. It'll be coming out of a development in the next month or so, but I'm really keen to work with you. You can then, on your spreadsheet, annotate Joe Blogs, X amount in the bank, willing to work with me, funds tied up for another 2 months. Nailed down. He would have ignored your post if it was invest in this deal now, I need the money in 40 days because his money's tied up.
I see, the words, the copy is so important to psychologically, so people understand it and read it in a certain way.
Yeah.
Okay, I've written that down because that is something, Instagram stories, I might chuck a general post out, but there's always probably for a certain deal.
Yes.
So I'm going to add a general, here's me, here's my project, here's my, a general kind of thing about I take money basically. You can loan me money, you'll get a return, you can learn if you want.
Yeah.
In general.
Yes.
I've also built a new website called tejinvests.com.
Yeah.
So Tej Talk, Tej Invest, same logo, everything, but it's blue. And I built that because of kind of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people thought, oh, he's a podcaster.
Yes. ... Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm a property investor who podcasts. So now I've got this, it's got the portfolio, the projects, all in one site, all in one place.
Yeah.
So hopefully these general posts can drive people to the website and they say, oh, Tej invests as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully I've kind of started that path.
Yeah, and I mean, those little things interest me, with regards to kind of the disruption of getting people to sites. So again, I sort of sat home and I said, how can, we're all going about business cards, handing out business cards and things like this. And I think, plus we've gone off the actual mentoring bit here, but I feel it does all tie in because it is for me, it's all one that triangle of time, money, deals. And I think I'm really still focused on the money side here and driving people to your, not necessarily to your brand, because that's what we're doing. And I got we just had some new business cards made up for Blue Oak, and again on the Blue Oak website there's exactly that. So there'll be the deals that we've done, but an invest with us type panel where again you're just going into, should we call the funnel, they're putting their email address in there and we would contact them for that. And I thought, consumer wise, that individual, if I give him a business card, has to click, etc., to go through what have you. But actually there's 1,001 people out in this world who possibly don't think that they want to invest but have money in their bank if they were sold in a certain way. So I had some little stickers made up, which I'll just put everywhere. All it has on is the Blue Oak palm tree, which the Blue Oak symbol is a Blue Oak palm tree, and a QR code taking it to the thingy, just says scan here. And I've had a response from that of people scanning, Rich, email, what is this, I'm interested.
Where have you stuck these? All over the tube or something? Because I thought about getting stickers and sticking them everywhere.
Yeah.
But I was like, where the hell would we... Just anywhere?
Everywhere.
So on the train just like... It's not mine. put that there.
You know, property education companies, you know, they're you know, things like that.
Every toilet I go into right now is going to have Tej.
But it's I'm not saying that works. It was something that I thought,
just another
what
way,
would
right?
make me do that? If somebody put a business card or a leaflet, am I going to get my phone out and go, no, but I'd be like, let's scan that, takes me to the site.
Yes.
While I'm sat on that toilet, I might be like, that's interesting. I'll put my email address in, I'll get a little bit further information. It's the first touch point. People too often want money on first touch point. It isn't going to happen. You know, you've got to, you know. So,
however, it can happen on first or second touch point.
Well, it can.
But what I mean is, you might think it's the first or second touch point.
Yes.
You've done 5 through your brand. People have lent me 50, 60 grand, the ones you have never met me.
But
8-minute phone call. But they've had me in their
headspace. You're in their headspace
6 times.
Yeah.
So I'm done.
Yeah, headspace is a huge one, and obviously that's what you do massively, and it's something that I've only really jumped on the back of. I'd say probably in the past 6 to 8 months, where I will constantly be putting, and you know, things like with that blue oak everywhere now on my Facebook story and things. Every other day, it'll just be the Facebook story and the Instagram story of the blue oak palm tree.
Okay.
It's the headspace. It's visibility, it's credibility, people to perceive me. That's not for me as a mentor, it's for me, that's for me as investment. That's looking for my own personal investment growth.
Yeah.
So I think coming back to you, time, money, I think money is a constant stream.
Yes,
okay?
It needs to be.
And it's not for those smallest, because your investment area, you're constantly thinking 10 grand refurb, £60,000 house purchase. So they're the sort of sums you're after. You need to be having pots of 5, 6, 700,000 available.
You want the facilities basically.
The facility available, especially when you're going to start moving into the flat territory and the conversion territory.
Yes, it's going to be much
because
bigger. Yeah.
That front end piece, that front end purchase, whether it's on an option, I'd always, if it's a commercial building, encourage on options, and that's where the mentoring that I personally took, which was valuable, paid dividends. The structuring of an option for a commercial building, how you would structure an offer with regards to kind of a 16-14 delta in order to get the VAT written off. Those sort of things I didn't know, of which I would have had to pay for. So for me, you know, I would say key takeaways are money raising.
All the time.
Money raising.
Always fundraising, yeah.
We talked about a block of flats, and I think the block of flats is simply looking for a commercial building, preferably a commercial, if you can view.
Or a very big house,
or
right?
a very big house, that potentially 4 or 5 units that you get from it. When you're looking at those units, they need to be of a good size. A lot of people are going for, I'm going to convert that house to 6 studios and value it up on the price of a studio flat. Well, that doesn't always wash. Okay.
And I know in my area, I'd need a 1-bed minimum.
You need a 1 bed.
I'd need a 1 bed.
Fantastic.
Really.
So you know that, minimum 1 bed. So you know the 1 bed area. Let's quickly touch on HMOs before we dismiss them completely.
No,
in your area, is there a market for that?
In the majority of my area, if the council gave us guaranteed leases, like they do in some areas, all day long, HMOs all day long, but otherwise, no.
Okay.
You don't want the tenants.
So with the leases from the council, I wouldn't, you know, the lending on that has been, I've lending full stop over the past, I would say 12 months. Lending criteria has tightened up so much.
Okay.
You know, lending criteria down valves are everywhere. You can see them left, right, centre. And that is simply fear in the market. Okay. I also think the world economy is a bit shot, but I'm not going to get into, you know, everybody.
We'll be for an hour if you talk about the economy.
Everybody uses Brexit as the excuse. There's far deeper problems with the Brexit.
Interesting.
You know?
Okay, interesting.
Well,
check out Rich's Facebook page to learn more about the economy.
Well, I mean, I'm no expert on it, and I'm no scaremonger on it, but I think people need to, you know, look outside of. We are still part of Europe. There's negative interest rates all over Europe. European central banks at 0% interest. You know, the growth is poor. Maybe Brexit will be our saviour. Let's just get out of Europe and say, do you know what? I'll leave you lot to it. Who knows?
But HMOs.
So what I was getting at there is the leases. So banks' lending criteria has become very, very much tighter, and the ability to lend on an FRI lease from a council has become, I wouldn't say extinct, but very expensive.
Fine, so let's ignore that. It doesn't exist anyway, but also that's a good tip for people. In another area where the flats would work, HMOs would work all day long. There's definitely a few there, because there's university, there's some what do you call it, lots of businesses or economy there. Not lots, but enough. I also invest in a certain part of this area, which I know hasn't got, well, I need to statistically check, but colloquially hasn't got that many HMOs.
Okay.
But actually, it's in a perfect location for them.
Okay.
And actually for SA as well, for a buy to SA. So here's the thing, I'll get a HMO or two.
Yeah.
But the main reason I prefer a block of flats is it's a HMO, but the humans aren't touching. You know? So there's no management issue, right? It's a bit, and also regulation wise, all this council tax per room, blah blah blah. Blocks of flats are 10 buy to lets in one.
So 100% get it. 100% get that.
That's why. But I will have one or two.
So everyone's being scared off about this whole council tax per room piece at the minute. If you didn't let me pose you a question. If you were going to do an HMO in this area that you're talking about, would it be a student HMO, or is the student market gone?
Looking at the area I buy in and the house prices compared to the student area, more than likely it would be young professionals.
Is there a demand still there for the students? Or again, because a lot of areas are being their student.
They're building the PBSAs at the moment. I think there's still demand. Don't get me wrong, because mature students don't get access to the. There's always little factors about these towers. People get scared, but there's obviously a few.
Always.
Factors. Would I do students? Yeah, I would. But in order to attract them, I have to be in an area that adds a lot more price on the purchase, but is probably the same rent, maybe even less.
But no council tax, because what don't students pay?
That's true.
Yeah, so then a lot of people are overlooking that, but obviously you've still got to make sure the student market is there.
True,
so
but I could charge council tax to the tenants in an HMO when it comes to it, right?
You could, and
not the best, but what else can you do?
But then, so this is one of the things which is rearing its head where I am at the minute, that the council are hitting certain ones. Now, the criteria in order to charge council tax seems to be almost open to interpretation.
Like anything with the council, whatever they want.
So the trouble is, if you've got, say, let's call it a 5-bed all-en-suite, and the council hit you with council tax per room, and you think, I'm going to now shift that council tax charge per room onto the tenant, all that tenant's going to be, and the council have only stipulated it on the en-suite room, all they're going to do is they're going to move out of your HMO and they're going to move into a 4-bed HMO where they're not all en-suites and not being charged council tax. And we're seeing this shift from the high end, which everybody jumped on 12 to 18 months ago, let's go uber high end, let's do this. Actually, they're jumping into the lower end product, but decorated well.
But then the issue is, there's going to be a point where landlords are then stomaching the council tax, but then it's just going to go back in a circle, and they're going to say, we can't handle this anymore.
It's going to be a vicious circle.
On you.
It's going to be an absolute vicious circle, but that vicious circle is going to bankrupt a lot of people.
And that's a consideration when I look at HMOs. Like, I have a house right now that's actually going to be a flip, but it's big, and it could be a HMO.
Okay, well, do you know in your region that they are charging council tax per room?
I don't think it's reached there yet.
Yeah.
Has it reached the nearest bigger town? Wales are a little bit behind when it comes to everything.
It hasn't reached that many places in
England.
It
hasn't. So it might not, but I also, because I love buy-to-lets and flats, I want it as passive as can be.
Yeah.
And if I'm spending, let's say I'm spending, 40 grand on a HMO conversion.
Yeah.
Everything's cheap in Wales. I could potentially, depending on the building, I could create a couple of flats for 40 grand. Tight, but I could. And I could have a more long-term, secure, safe, boring investment.
But
that's my thinking. Could be right.
But you are. So let's take this one building that you're looking at. This building you've got to do as a flip. That could be an HMO. How much? Let's look at that. Why not? If you did that as an HMO. So what's your budget for the flip?
£13,000 to £14,000.
And you just said threw off the bat there 40 grand budget for an HMO.
Yeah, like if I was going to convert this into a HMO, not all ensuite.
Yeah.
Enough so that it doesn't become too commercial as a building. Okay. I think 40 is probably over what my guys.
Okay, so £25,000 more, than your flip budget.
And I really doubt it'll be that much.
Okay,
more, but
if in 2 years they brought the council tax in per room, you haven't done too much damage
Yes.
that you could sell on. So my argument would be, why don't you potentially look at that one that you've got? You've bought it substantially below value, in order to, because you bought it as a flip. Well, actually, maybe you wanted to keep everything. Was the crux of one of the first sentences you said to me. You want to keep everything. Why not? Let's look at that one as an HMO. You want things to be passive. Well, already you're using a management agent there, so technically you should be passive. Now, we've already said that your management agent does call you up a lot. So maybe they're not the best. Maybe it's time, if you've got an HMO and 4 or 5 tenants, that's the time for you to employ somebody locally on a part-time basis.
And actually, I know
do your property management.
Yeah.
Do you know? So maybe this is the ideal transition.
But yeah, because I need to make some time to actually think for this property. How will it, will it work as a HMO? I think the first step for me is to put an advert out on Spare Room, like a dummy ad, get some responses, see what's.
So I think Spare Room has had its day, if I'm brutally honest. If you want my opinion on
what's
that.
What's next then? What's next?
When I say it's had its day, I think Spare Room is filled with dummy ads.
All these people putting dummy ads out, God.
And I think again the level of teaching hasn't kind of advanced. And I speak to my management agent when she fills my HMOs. All the tenants come from Marketplace.
Facebook. I was going to say to you, Facebook is probably.
They all come from Marketplace.
I've had tenants for buy-to-lets at least view from there.
Yeah. So free advertising.
Yeah.
Dummy ad on Facebook Marketplace. Who know? Test them out. Do it on both.
Okay.
It's that you've got to. Let's not pigeonhole ourselves into Spare Room, thinking Spare Room's the. I speak to a number of people who will come off an HMO course. Okay, they had never heard of Spare Room until they'd gone on that HMO course. So now let's think about that. Let's think about them wanting to. Let's put that head. They've gone on that and they've heard about Spare Room, put a dummy ad on Spare Room, etc. Now think of, okay, I've never heard of that. I've just only heard about it from an HMO investor course, an investment course to learn about investing in HMOs. If I haven't heard about it, has the 20 to 25-year-old, hang on, I'm 25, I'm a young professional, I hadn't heard about Spare Room, so I want an HMO investment course. Why would that 25-year-old young professional have heard about Spare Rooms? It happened. It was things like that I'd heard, and I thought, well,
Okay, so I'll put a dummy ad on Facebook Marketplace. I'll put one on Spare Room anyway, just to see what happens. So I will test that one out. Yeah, because I know my guys could do a HMO conversion for obviously way less than 40.
How many rooms would it be?
It would be, so it's a 3-bed, it's a 1 double, 2 double, 3, got so many houses I can't remember. The third room is, I'd call it a 1.5. It's not a double, it's not a single, it's in between.
Okay, but it would house a double bed? Or would it queen bed?
The queen bed potentially.
Yeah.
So I got 2 doubles, 1.5, and then downstairs there's 2 reception rooms, and they're perfect because they're boxed. So you walk in, reception room here is his own box.
Yeah.
You do have to walk through one to get to the kitchen.
Okay.
We could put a stud wall there straight through to the kitchen. Kitchen is big.
Okay.
So it could be a kitchen diner. So it could be it could be a 5-bed.
Yeah.
And because in Wales there's no permitted development,
yeah,
I have to apply for planning however many bedrooms.
Right.
So it doesn't matter 4 or 5. In England there's that difference. I have to apply anyway. So I guess I'd prefer to do it as 5 because there's no difference to.
If you've got to put in the planning anyway.
Yeah, and it would work, and the rooms would be nice. It's almost the perfect shape for a HMO, give or take. There's a 1.5 bedroom.
Okay, so let's just. How much were you going to walk as a flip from that?
Between 14 to 19,000, depending on how much I push the ceiling price, and I'm confident that I can. Looking at comparables and looking at how beautiful mine's going to be compared to theirs, I'm very confident of getting a higher end.
19 grand, it's going to cost us £25,000 more to do that conversion.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, around that figure. I just think you're going to walk away with £20,000, and yes, you are in the investor looking for cycle at the moment. I just feel that where you are at the moment, and we want to move into HMO slash
high cash flow.
I feel that is a perfect property, at least to go away from here and do your due diligence on that.
100%.
I don't feel you've done. I think you've just had flip in your head, flip, where actually that is potentially the perfect one for the sake of a £20,000 pot, which you'd get if you flipped it in 5 months' time. By the time 6 months' time, I would want that would be for me almost the first step into the multi-let market.
And like you said, it is below market value. It is in a great area. It's actually in a lovely street of this area. Bus straight outside, straight into town centre.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to do my duty.
And there may be issues there if it's straight on the street, no car parking. Because
it's got permit and free opposite.
Okay.
A whole strip of free parking. So actually, it's really good for HMO in that sense. People do drive in. Well, most people drive in this area, but
no, it's just more planning because you've got to put in planning.
Or highways and all that.
Yeah, they would look at that. Obviously, if you didn't in England, if you didn't have to put in planning, you wouldn't necessarily need to care about that as such.
Yeah, I'll be able to convince. There's enough. I've kind of sussed it out, and there's suitable arrangements.
So I think that is for me, looking externally at you, that is a perfect.
Yeah, I think it would be actually because the room rates. My friend just did a rent-to-rent HMO in the same area, similar area, filled it within a week and a half.
Really?
It was pretty nice inside.
Yeah.
But no offense, you know who you are. It's not going to be. Mine's going to be like stunning. Like, if I could put real marble in these houses, I would.
Yeah.
There's no budget for that, but that's the kind of level I aim for. Because when you have a brand, right, you have to. You can't really have Magnolia.
Yeah.
You have to show the sexy stuff. So I think I'm confident that I could cash flow. Off the top of my head, anywhere from 700 to maybe 950 a month.
Yeah.
Conservatively.
Yeah. And I think you probably are conservative there. I think I would put you more nibbling 4 figures at that.
Yeah.
Do you know how many buy-to-lets is that?
You know, 4.
4 buy-to-lets. What would that £20,000 have done you? So that is, if you've done it to flip. It's just.
It's a very very good point.
For me, if you're already thinking about going down that avenue, this is potentially the perfect avenue.
And I have one sitting there in my conveyancing, which is fully funded by an investor, and the refurb is about to potentially, if I look at my phone, be funded.
Yeah.
Can I raise another 15 to refurb it or so? Yes, I can.
Can you raise another 15, or can you speak to that investor who's about to fund it and say we're now going to change tack? Let's not look for another. The less investors you bring to the party,
of course, it's easier. Yeah,
the far easier it is.
That's a good point. I think that's a good thing for everyone listening as well. Is that like you may have something under your nose that you've labelled as something, but actually the opportunity is because I didn't view it. My friend viewed it for me.
Yeah.
Offer accepted. Bought it. It's in conveyancing. I went and viewed it and was like, damn, this place is big. High ceilings, everything. I just thought I'm missing a trick here.
Yeah, and I'd say, don't get me wrong. When you actually go down the avenue of whether would it get planning, would it actually be 40,000, etc.
Yeah.
It may not work come 2 days' time when you've done the due diligence, but I do feel had we not had this chat, you would have charged down that flip avenue, flipped it. How confident? I would always at the moment, if I was doing any flips, have a solid secondary anyway. The secondary on just because of the state of the current market. The secondary on that at the moment for you would be buy-to-let.
Buy-to-let or sell to an overseas investor at a yield based. I've got a few contacts who would buy stuff, so I always have 4 exits on everything.
Yeah.
Worst case, auction sale. I think, I always have 4 exits.
So you're just out of interest on that then. So you would have been flipping,
buy-to-letting
for yourself.
For myself.
Yeah.
I would have sourced. It would have been purchased, but my friend has overseas investors who look at the rent. I would have tenanted it, done a yield, done the videos, they would have bought it at a yield-based calculation.
Yeah.
I can't remember how to work it out, but it's about market value.
Okay.
And you can push for more if you show them how nice it is, but they're very numbers-focused. Then it would be selling at auction.
Yeah.
I have a good relationship with the local auction houses. People do buy ready-made investments on occasion. Actually, 5th exit is I would sell it potentially through some of my sources that I know as friends who have ready-made investors.
Yes.
So that's what I tell people when they say, Tej, Brexit, the economy, I'm like, I've got 5 exits.
Yeah.
If they all,
Yeah, but then I'm gonna bring you back to your previous point about sources.
Yes.
I will never, ever, ever, ever be a sourcer, yet 3 of your exits are packaging and sourcing that deal on.
They are, but they're not for a sourcing fee.
No buts here. That's what they are.
No, but they're not for a sourcing fee. I'm selling it as a trader. So if I sell it to overseas investors, they're buying it off me.
You're not holding it though, which is what you said.
But I'm flipping it. They're technically flips. They're flips.
You are alright. You're flipping it.
Overseas investors are flip because they're paying stamp. They're buying it. It's a flip. It's not a package. It is a package.
Yeah.
But there's no sourcing fee.
There's no fee involved.
There's no fee. So I'm just trading it.
Okay.
That's how I'm trading it on, right? But again, they're also worst case exits.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
worst case
of course,
exits,
worst case, 10th down the list is sourcing it on.
Yeah.
but I'd want to do everything else beforehand.
Yeah, and I think for me, when you've said something under your nose, for me, when we talk about mentors, a mentor should not necessarily tell you what to do or anything like that. It's simply giving you a bit of food for thought.
Yeah,
so all I've done there,
up, yeah.
and for me, from this session now, all I can say is, you know your goals. I think you knew your goals. You're probably too scared to just verbalise them when you said, because you were unsure whether you wanted to go too big or too small. Where you were.
And looking at what we've talking about, 24 months, 10 grand. I think it could be 12 months, 10 grand.
That's fine.
Only because I've seen how much I've achieved in 6 months, and a lot of it has been at the end.
Yeah.
And I know the momentum and the contacts I've made now. I'm just thinking through my web of my world, and speaking of HMOs and lots of flats, I really think full-time property, and this is me being critical, I have no excuse really not to reach 10 grand
so then,
in 12 months, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why, I say when Paul and I with our new company set a target of 2020, we're both going to be full-time, of £30,000. We've got 2 people working full-time, in an industry. It's not, a lot of people will think that is an unachievable target. I'm happy with my £5,000. No, you need to start dreaming bigger. You need to stop.
Also, to caveat, you also have experience, right? That I don't, that others don't. So you may achieve it quicker, right?
Yes. However, I think your experience is very, very strong. Mm-hmm. You potentially just need guiding in some other direction, like seeing a flip under your nose, thinking. And where I would look at that, like it's 20 grand, and I don't turn my nose up at 20,000, but I just think I'm in this for passive investment, not pots of cash. If I wanted pots of cash, I'd be a deal packager. If I want passive investment, and you could argue till the cows come home about HMOs being passive, and they very much can be.
Yeah, they can.
But that's what you want. Mm-hmm. Go away and look at that.
Okay. So, is there anything else that you, from your sort of mentoring in the first session, that we should cover before we close up?
No, I think so. For me, first sessions are always goal setting. I would probably is usually get a bit of paper, and we would map out exactly month by month. And that's something I'd probably potentially get you to do at your own time. But it's a case of I would map it out with key targets along the way. Yeah. So I would do quarterly targets, and I'd even go down to monthly targets. Anything below monthly, I would expect you to be doing personally, not necessarily shared with me.
Yeah, of course.
But I would still expect monthly targets to give you something to come back with every single month.
Okay.
And I hammer the people I work with. If I'm not interested in excuses, if you come and say, I haven't done that because I've been too busy, you'll
I shouldn't be saying that to you, I shouldn't.
No, but what's the point? That's the point. If a mentorship or working with a mentor is a two-way street. Mm-hmm, if you just turn up thinking, I haven't done these targets because I was too busy, and the mentor says, all right, well that's fine, look, we'll try and achieve them this month. No, what's the point? You haven't driven me to achieve that this month. You as a mentor, I'm paying you money or whatever transfer there is, you have to drive those targets. So only additional thing is I would have probably drawn down into monthly targets.
Okay, fine, yep. I will do that.
Okay, draw down into some monthly targets. Mm-hmm. Okay, SMART targets.
Yep.
Okay.
What do they stand for? Go on.
Yeah, so it's set, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound.
Time-bound. Okay. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll set monthly targets. I'll definitely get them on paper. I'll reconsider the flip HMO. I'll start putting out general investment posts.
My 2 biggest takeaways: investment post for general.
Yep.
Reconsider that HMO.
Yep.
Okay, reconsider the HMO and seriously look at your area regarding a flat purchase.
Yes, so you look into flats.
I'd look into flats and not be scared about changing your investment area and potentially having a separate...
I will have 2. I'll have one focus on flats and HMOs, which is where it will be, and buy-to-lets because they work there, but the rest is just buy-to-lets.
And I wouldn't necessarily say that to somebody if their goldmine area was on their doorstep. There's some people who want a goldmine area not more than 5 mile radius. That's fine if that's where they want to stay. Flats don't work there. I wouldn't be pushing them down the flat avenue. For you, you've got everywhere from London to South Wales. Could be a
but I guess the benefit of that, and for people listening, is let's say my one house, which is actually east, and my other house, which is quite west, hour between them.
Yeah.
And it might sound like a lot, but basically everything within that is my hunting ground.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's not enough deals to focus on a small area. Everything's so similar in a lot of these towns.
Yeah.
So because I know my area well, I'm happy having, this place is for flats and HMOs and buy-to-lets.
Yeah.
But all of this is buy-to-lets and flips.
Yeah.
And I can manage that. And also I love it. It's such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I love driving between it. So actually, some people might say, oh, it's a waste of your time. But if it brings me inner peace and it's like and it's relaxed,
that's your time.
That's my time in beautiful Wales. So, like I always say to people now, I'm happy investing. I do invest over a scattered area.
Yeah.
But it's in the same councils or in the same valleys, or so it works in different ways. So, okay.
Last one. I want you to monitor for 4 weeks for the month.
Okay.
The tasks.
Okay, monitor for.
Okay, so you start to look at your time management, okay, and then ultimately, once we scale up, what elements of the time you just need to monitor. What you don't monitor, what you don't measure, you can't monitor. So you've got to monitor it.
What's not measured.